Hello dear children, as we know that in a few days our SSLC batch is going to attend their final examination. So I thought of making two or three videos explaining about your complete syllabus, a short summary of each and every chapters, along with that some important points which can help you to study far better. So in this video, actually this is not a single video, it will be like 3 or 4 videos. In all these 4 videos I will be explaining your prose, poetry and grammar parts also. So in today's video we are going to explain our prose section, part 1 as well as part 2, a small theme or about the chapter in 2 or 3 sentences, and along with that what is important in that chapter, or how we should study, what are the important points to study, points to remember in that chapter. So let us begin. Our first chapter was A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise, that is written by Rabindranath Tagore. One thing to tell you, you should remember chapter name and the author, writer name. It can be poet or storyteller, whatever it is, the writer name compulsory you should remember, because as you know in our question pattern we have annotation, reference to the context, like that a question type is there. In that, if you know the chapter name and if you know the writer's name, you can score a minimum 1 mark in that. So compulsory you should remember. So our first chapter, A Wrong Man in Workers' Paradise. Story already we know, a man who was very lazy while living on this earth. After his death, by a mistake of the messenger, he was sent to the paradise, Workers' Paradise. Workers' Paradise was very special for their working attitude. They are always complaining that they have no time to spare, they have no free time for anything. There was a silent torrent. That is why it is silent, because the torrent does not want to waste its energy by singing. So everyone is so curious, so active in their work. So at that time this lazy man, he entered to the paradise. Then as he was living on the earth, in the same way he was living here also, he was spending time by wasting in the paradise also. So once he met a girl. So he's asking the girl to give a pot, one of her pictures. First she refused, but after that she was accepted to give the pot. Then he painted the pot and he had given to her. Then from that time she started wasting her time like the same man. So not only this girl, more people from Workers' Paradise, they started wasting time in the Workers' Paradise. So the elders became anxious. They called a meeting and they sent that man out. At that time the girl also moving with him. So this is the summary, or this is like we can say like a short summary of this story. In this chapter, important points that you have to remember is about, first point is about silent torrent. First point is silent torrent. Don't forget silent. Why is the torrent is silent? Because it does not want to waste its energy by singing. Another one thing, the anxiety. Why the elders became anxious, that we know, because of this people of the Workers' Paradise started wasting time and they are not doing work like before. Then movement of the girl. This is very important, that maybe we have not seen in our exercise part. The movement of the girl is compared with what? The movement of the girl is compared with the skilled hand on the strings of a guitar. The movement of the girl, the rapid movement of the girl is compared to a skilled hand on the strings of a guitar. That is a very important point that you should not forget. Then the changes in the girl before the entrance of the lazy man, after his entrance. Before she was her movement only compared with, it was very fast, very active movement, but after that, after she met this man, she started changing. The attitude of the girl started changing. She started becoming lazy. She started wasting her time by doing unnecessary things like watching the meaning of the pot, and she started taking care of herself, her beauty. So these things you have to remember from this chapter. Then second chapter was Elixir of Life, written by C.V. Raman. Elixir of Life deals with the importance of water. In this chapter, the important things you have to remember, first thing is rain-fed tanks in South India. Very important topic, rain-fed tanks. One of the most important questions from this chapter. Rain-fed tank that we have seen, it is there in we can see rain-fed tanks in South India, and about rain-fed tanks, C.V. Raman saying that it is the most cheerful sight of South India, that is rain-fed tanks. When it is filled with water, it's very beautiful to see in the time of sunrise or sunset. So this is about rain-fed tanks. Then uses of water. There we have seen nearly six main points, because every animals and plants contain water in its body. No physical activity, no physiological activities are possible. Then hydroelectric power we have seen. Then waterways, inland waterways we have seen. So these are all the uses we have to remember. These points you have to remember. The uses of water. There is a chance for a long answer question from this chapter. And then soil erosion and how to prevent it. As we know that in the chapter, C.V. Raman saying that the reason for soil erosion is excessive heavy rainfall is the main reason of soil erosion. How to prevent soil erosion? There we have seen about civilized forest. What are civilized forests? It is man-made forest, artificially made forest. Depends on the season and depends on the quality of the soil. We make artificial forest on the soil, so it can prevent soil erosion. So to prevent soil erosion, what we have to do? We have to plant more trees. This is one of the main point from this chapter. Then there we have seen in the beginning of the chapter, we have seen difference between Libyan desert and Egypt or Nile Valley. So the river Nile made this wonderful difference. So these points you have to remember from this chapter. The third chapter was Gift of Magi, written by O. Henry. In this chapter we see the hero and heroine, that is Jim and Della. They both have their most precious possession. Jim has his watch and Della had her hair. These two things were the most precious possession of them. Then their comparison is there. Jim's watch is compared with King Solomon's wealth, and Della's hair is compared with the Queen Sheba. So these comparisons you have to remember. Then there we see details about Jim's flat. There we have seen a door, a calling bell, but no one rings the bell, and there was a letter box. No letters were found in the box. This also you have to remember. They pay $8 per week for the flat. It was very small flat. Then most important thing to remember from this chapter is the aptness of the title for the story. Why this Della's and Jim story is compared with the Magi's gift. That also you have to study. As I am discussing these questions or these points, these all points as questions or as summary is there in the notes only. You have exercises, maybe you have manuals, you have notes. So you have to check through this. You have to go through all the chapters and you have to find out these important points. You have to study this. So in that way you have to study. That's why I am explaining once again all the points, because you are going to write the exam. This video will help you the maximum to get good marks in your result, 100% sure. So let's continue. So that's all about Gift of Magi. Main thing you have to study the aptness of the title and their possessions, their comparison of their possessions with King Solomon and Queen Sheba. So these are the things. Next chapter was Louis Pasteur, Conqueror of Disease by E.H. Carter. In this chapter we study a lot of medical terms. Here analogies depends on this chapter. Remember some medical terms, doctors, different names that we are going to study in this chapter. Then here we see an important topic, that is pasteurization. What was pasteurization? Anybody remembers? Pasteurization was heating up wine, milk or any liquid up to 50 to 60 degrees centigrade. Then the germs in that liquid will become harmless. That was pasteurization. By the help of this pasteurization technique, Louis Pasteur helped French wine growers. Then he helped silkworm industries. Then he found inoculation. What is the difference between inoculation and vaccination? Inoculation, vaccination is giving the vaccine, but in the case of inoculation, we inject the weak form of the same diseased germ or same germ of the disease. The weak form of the germ of the same disease we inject to a body. Then that weak forms will become antibodies, and it will increase the immunity of a body. So with the help of inoculation, Louis Pasteur proved solution for anthrax and rabies. So how he found the experiment? No, he found 4 dozens of cows and sheep, and in half dozen he injected the weak form of anthrax germs, and the remaining half dozens he left without doing anything. Then after that, some days he experimented by injecting the normal diseased bacteria into this injected animals and the non-injected animals. So as a result, we have seen the injected, already weak form injected animals, they were perfectly alright, nothing had happened, and here other side all the animals, they were dying. So by the help of this inoculation method, Louis Pasteur found a solution for anthrax as well as rabies also. Then Louis Pasteur's message for the young scientists, that also one of the important things from this chapter. He's saying that 2 things you can ask to yourself: what have you done for your education, and what have you done for your country? If you are getting perfect answers for these 2 questions, then you can enjoy the supreme happiness of your life. So this was the message Louis Pasteur had given to the young scientist. So his kindness, his humbleness, these all things we see in this chapter. So these points you have to study very carefully. Then what is moral action? Our 5th chapter was what is moral action, written by the most famous, well-known Mahatma Gandhi. In this chapter, nothing more, just we see the difference between moral and immoral or non-moral actions. Then we see some examples for that. For example, Mahatma Gandhi says in his chapter, moral action must be away from fear and compulsion. And we see an example. For example, an employee, a worker. For example, I am working in a school. This is one of the most common examples that I tell to my students. I am working in an institution. So, for example, my institution, my schools begin at 8 o'clock or 9:30 in the morning. So I used to reach every day 9:30. If I am reaching because of the scare of my management, then my action is not moral. If I am reaching with an intention that I have to reach on time, I have to teach, my good intention is good, I have no fear and compulsion, just I am reaching as myself. From my mind, I am thinking that I have to reach, then only my action is moral. I am reaching my institution because of the fear and compulsion. If I reach late, my management can get angry on me, or they will fire me from the institution. Because of all these thoughts, if I am reaching on time, then also my action is not moral. I am doing something good if the intention behind the action, everything is perfect, then only an action also can be moral. Otherwise, action is non-moral or immoral. Then we see a mechanical act and intentional act. And there we have seen example of a king and a messenger or a soldier. For example, there is a prisoner. The king, by feeling pity on the prisoner, the king deciding to leave him free, then his action is moral. At the same time, or his action is of course intentional. King has the rights to take decision, and he is able to do according to his will. But at the same time, the messenger, he is doing something that depends on the order of the king. Then his action is actually in the same way, it's moral action, but at the same time it is mechanical. There is nothing to do for the messenger or soldier, just he is obeying the orders. So this another one point. So conditions for an action to make it as moral action, it must be away from fear and compulsion. Then it must be having good intentions. If my intention is good, then only my action is moral. I am doing something. For example, I am giving 10 rupees to a beggar. There can be action of 2 types. First thing, I am giving 10 rupees to that beggar, just I'm feeling pity on him, and it's okay, let him have something, let him do something useful things with that money, let him have some food. On that good intention, I am doing something, then my action is moral. At the same time, I am giving some money to a beggar by observing that it will increase my popularity, I'll become known for the people will feel like a good attitude towards me. On that one intention, if I am doing something, then my act is not moral. There we see three examples. Mainly we see three people as example. One is King Alexander the Great. Mahatma Gandhi says about King Alexander, his actions are good. Whatever he had done, everything is good. But we cannot call those actions moral action. Why? Because King Alexander had spread the culture of Greek culture, education all over the world. Wherever he conquered, whatever the countries he conquered, he had spread the knowledge everywhere. But at the same time, one thing happened. His intention was to conquer the place. His main intention was not to spread the culture and education. His main intention was to conquer the land. As he conquered the land, he spread education there. So his actions were good, but his intention was not good. So his actions were not moral. So we cannot call him moral. Just you can call him great. That's all. Next chapter was Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. One of the most beautiful chapter. There are some funny incidents from this chapter. A man, the narrator, was blind. In this story, the narrator was blind while he was traveling from one place to Missouri. He was traveling to Missouri. At that time, on the way, he gets a girl as a companion, traveling companion. She also was blind, but the narrator had no idea about this. He didn't know that she was blind. So maximum he tried to impress her that he is also a normal sighted man. He is not blind. He tried to impress her by that thought. He had a lot of encounters with the girl. He is maximum trying to impress her. At last, when she reached her place, her auntie was waiting to receive her. When she just left the place, another one companion, fellow traveler, came to the compartment. At that time, the narrator is asking to the fellow companion that how was the hair of the girl? Did you observe? But the man, the fellow traveler, he just told him that he did not observe her hair, but he observed her eyes. It was completely blind. At that time, the narrator realized that she also was blind. So from this chapter, the points you have to remember that what are the things he used to, he told her that to impress that he also was a normal sighted. There we can see that he is telling her about the vision, what we see out of the window, trees are moving, these all things he see. Then he is telling to her that October is the best time to visit Missouri. How he could tell that? Why? Because by birth this man was not blind. Recently he became blind, or he lost his eyesight. So when his eyesight was good, at that time already he visited Missouri. From that memories he is recalling his vision about Missouri, and he is explaining to her about Missouri in the month of October. Then another one question that I have seen in guides and or a textbook exercise is there. For example, imagine you are the narrator, and when you realize the girl also was blind, what are the thoughts will come across in your mind, will come to your mind? So these all things you have to study from this chapter. Next chapter is my favorite, that The Girl Who Was Anne Frank, written by Louis D. Jong. In this chapter there are much more things to remember. You have to study about Anne Frank's family, Anne Frank's father, Otto Frank, mother, and she has a sister, Margot. So Anne Frank's childhood life, she was always a talkative girl. Always she would be covered with a crowd of girls. She's fond of new clothes and fashion. So like this was her childhood. But when she got the diary, when she was 13 years old, on her birthday, she had been given a diary. So she started writing her diary, and when 1933, when Adolf Hitler came into power, Otto Frank decided to shift or migrate to Amsterdam, Netherlands. But even after that also, they got some problems that this Nazi army, came to take the control of Amsterdam also. So out of rank, along with his family, they decided to go for hiding. So they were hiding at that time. They were hiding in a room called annex. This name you should compulsory remember, annex. So they were hiding in annex. At that time, Anne Frank was continuing her diary. While she was staying there for a long 16 months, Anne Frank compared herself to a songbird which lost its wings and trying to fly high. However it trying to fly, it is going and hitting on the iron rods and again falling down. So this you have to remember. And then completely she had marked each and every moments of her life in the annex, and she wanted to publish it as a book also. Then while she after some time, that we have seen that after some time, nearly 1942, Nazi people and policemen came and arrested the Frank's family, and Otto Frank separated from them. Their mother died. Then Margot and Anne Frank, they were taken to a concentration camp of Nazi, that Berlin-Belsen. There Margot and Anne Frank, they were in a concentration camp of Nazi. There Anne Frank shown her courage. She was a courageous leader there. Whenever they had no food to eat, she used to go and ask in the kitchen, and always she was telling to her sister not to give in. These 2 points you have to remember. Then their death also. They got typhoid and they are dying nearly 1945, February or March. You have to write March in your textbook. It is mentioned as March only. But as I told you in the video, there is a small confusion about the death of Anne Frank. Whether it is February or March, still there is a confusion. So her life you should remember. Then after her death, Otto Frank had collected her diary and he decided to publish. Then the main thing, the response from the people. Importantly, the response from Germans, that we have to study carefully. Anne Frank's diary opened the eyes of the people towards the viciousness of the racial persecution. This you should remember. Millions of copies sold in different countries. They made it into a drama, they made it into film, and this drama as well as the film had got a huge response from the people. Many of the Nazis, the ex-Nazis we can call, who were in the Nazi army, even they also got a realization by watching her story. So Anne Frank still lives even after her death. So this you have to remember. In this chapter mainly, how Anne Frank's diary opened the eyes towards the viciousness of racial persecution, one of the important questions. Then the cruelty of Nazi. You can write the whole things what happened in the Anne Frank's life. So these 2 things compulsory you have to study. As my personal opinion, Anne Frank's chapter compulsory how to study for a long answer type of question, because you have a chance to get 4 marks, 4 out of 4. Next chapter was Village Cricket Match. It is written by A.G. MacDonald. This is one of the, we can say it like a funny story. It is completely fun. Have you seen the movie Lagan? There is a Hindi movie called Lagan by, I think, Amir Khan acted in that as hero. So the same thing happened in the story also, Village Cricket Match. It is a cricket match between 2 countries, England and Scotland. English people and Scottish people, they are playing a cricket match. Here actually the comedy of this cricket match, that no one is there who knows the actual cricket. We have seen cricket matches, like we know number of people who plays cricket of different countries. We have Mahendra Singh Dhoni, we have Sachin Tendulkar, we have Ricky Ponting, we have different teams. We have we watch cricket. We used to watch cricket whenever it comes in the TV. So in this cricket match, actually these people, all these players, they have no idea about the cricket match. They are common people, like who are working in bakeries, who are working in churches, who are common people, and some businessmen. They are playing cricket. They have no idea what is cricket. So the comedy what is happening, they make rules just when they are playing. Some examples, if we say a no ball was called before even the ball bowled. Even throwing the ball, already umpire called no ball. And batsman hits the ball, and they are getting 4 byes, and somehow full of funny actions, funny moments are going on in the story. So when you study this chapter, you have to remember some funny incident, minimum 2 to 3 funny incidents of this chapter you have to remember. Then you have to in this chapter, main thing I have observed in your question papers or question pattern, that you have to study about the characters and the funny incidents, what happened in the story. When you read this chapter, you may feel it is little bit difficult, but as I observed, this chapter is very easy. Just study the funny incidents. Study 3 funny incidents from this chapter and study character sketch of this chapter. We have seen a sexton, a blacksmith, a baker. We are seeing number of different people. And another one important thing, dig on government officials. There we see a postman who is a player, but even though he is getting a chance to take a run, the postman is not running. Why? Because he is of course government official. They don't take any risk. By this sentence, our narrator is trying to dig on the government officials. Then here we see a status quo episode or fatal mistake of Hodge. Their first Hodge is the captain. Southcote and Livingston, when there is a chance for a catch, Southcote and Livingston, they are both are running to get the ball. First Hodge is telling to Livingston to get the catch. So Southcote is very obedient player. Southcote just stopped himself, but at that time Hodge remembered Livingston already missed some catches, so Livingston telling to Southcote to run and telling Hodge, Livingston to stop. Southcote started running, but Livingston did not listen what Hodge had told. So they both are coming to catch the ball. They both are colliding each other and crashing there. So this is one thing you have to remember. So when you study this chapter, just study about the characters and about the funny incidents to get long answer question, of course. Next chapter was consumerist culture. In consumerist culture, we see the increasing of consumerism in our country. Man became like a buying machine. We see number of shopping malls increased in our country, all over the country, as we say. So here we see a culture that shop till you drop. We have number of choices. Some years before, we see, for example, you are going to buy a television, very few companies, for example LG or Sony, some very less companies which we can count in our fingers, 1, 2, 3, maximum 5 companies only were available. But presently, if you go to a shopping mall to buy a television, what is your budget and what type of TV you want, different features, different amount, different budget. So there are a number of choices, and it makes people to buy like a buying machine. We buy things which is necessary and unnecessary, which is making more economical problems in the country, more difficulties in the lives of the people. So then we see the thrill of Indian shoppers that I told about, choices. Then we see the dream come true. What was the dream come true for US returned Indians? That was types of ice cream, different flavors of ice cream that we have seen in the chapter. Then we have to study about the success story of Pepsi and Coca-Cola. They started their business in every nook and corners of the country. That was the success story of Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Then about advertisement, we see in the chapter advertisement, how they work hard. We know that sometimes we see our favorite people. For example, some days before, I have seen an advertisement that in that I have seen my favorite actor and my favorite actress even. So we are too much we have a kind of attraction towards them. We like them, so we like to buy the things which they use. For example, when we buy a mobile phone or a television, by watching advertisements only, we believe this advertisement, and this technique only this advertisement makers also using. Then how we can get the sanity, for example, when these free marketings and these big shopping malls are increasing, the small scale business people, they are getting more losses, and they have to stop their businesses, and they get more financial crisis also. So if you have to stop this, the government should do something. All these things we have seen in this chapter. So when you study, you have to study all these important points. And one more thing, you have to study about tragic comedy of development. Very important point from this chapter. So that's all about this chapter. And the last prose section was Pie and the Tart. This is another one of the comedy, one act play. It is Pie and Tart is one act play. Here we see two people, Perry and Jean. They are beggars. They are begging for food. Then another two characters, that is Gaultier and Marion, Gaultier's wife. I think totally we are seeing only 5 characters, and one character is there, a mayor. We are not seeing his any of his dialogues and all. but there is a mayor presence in the chapter. Then Jean, Pierre, Gaultier and Marion. Pierre and Jean, they are two beggars, vagabonds they call. Then they used to beg for food. At maximum they are trying to get some food. They are full of starving. They are in starvation. There we see a symbol of starvation also. They are 2 to 3 days they had no food to eat. So first they go to this Gaultier's house to get some food. This Gaultier has a bakery of his own. So Gaultier, but they refuse to give some food. They are not getting any food. So by the time Jean, he overhears a conversation. By chance he listened a conversation of Gaultier and his wife that Gaultier is going out for a dinner with the mayor. So he cannot carry the pie, the ill pie. So Gaultier is telling to Marion that he will send a messenger, and the messenger will kiss on Marion's hand. By that way, Marion can find out that he is the messenger who sent by Gaultier, her husband. So by listening this conversation, Pierre and Jean making some plannings, and after Gaultier leaving from the home, Pierre is going to collect the pie. He is telling that he is the messenger sent by Gaultier, and he is collecting the pie and he is leaving from there. But after some time, Gaultier is coming back, and Gaultier saying that he didn't get the mayor there because mayor was outside. So he is asking to Marion to give the pie. Marion telling that already one messenger came and he told that you only send it. And he's getting angry. Gaultier getting angry on Marion. At that time, Jean is going to collect the tart also. So at that time, Gaultier finding out them and beating Jean. So asking where is the pie. Jean telling the pie is with the Pierre, and Pierre coming and saying that he had given the pie to the mayor, and mayor only told her to get the tart also. So here Gaultier and Marion becoming foolish twice. Not only one time, they becomes fools twice. First they lost their pie, and after that they lost their tart also. So happily Jean and Pierre going and eating, enjoying their food. So this is the story in Pie and Tart. You have to study about how Marion is going to find out the messenger, that the messenger will come and will kiss on Marion's hand. Then you have to study about Gaultier and Marion. There are small characteristics you have to study. You have to study the difference and indifferences between Jean and Pierre. These points, if you study, you can get good mark from this chapter. So here we have our 10 chapters, prose section. In the next video, I will be explaining about our poems. Then we will be having our supplementary section as well as our grammar section. In 2 or 3 videos, I will be finishing this grammar as well as our supplementary sections also. Just the points which I have told today, just listen carefully and just mark in your notes or where you have the manuals, material, study material, and study according to that. This is not a substitute that if you study only this you can get the whole mark. It doesn't mean like that. This is just a help for you who are going to attend the final exam. Study very well. I wish you all the success in your exam. Get good result and get maximum success in your exams. So in the next video we will discuss about our poems. Thank you. Take care. Bye.